Welcome to the Mystic Millionaire Podcast, where wealth is energy, success is a mindset, and abundance is your birthright. I am Danielle Amos, your host and mentor, here to help you unlock prosperity, embody confidence, and manifest a life you love. Take a breath, align with your truth, and let's manifest millions. A thought leader in the coaching world, Keren Eldad, Coach Keren as she's known, specializes in taking high achievers out of the futility of constant pursuit and into the greatest levels of success and fulfillment. Her coaching clients include Olympic athletes, politicians, Hollywood stars, supermodels, special forces or special ops, and serial entrepreneurs, as well as renowned global organizations such as Estee Lauder, J.P. Morgan, and Nike. She is also the founder of The Club, a community of leaders, entrepreneurs, and coaches who encourage and support each other to reach their highest potential and make their greatest contribution. Recognized as a top 10 executive coach by the International Coaching Federation, ICF, Real Leaders Magazine, and Goop, Keren maintains gold standard coaching credentials on top of her advanced academic degrees from the London School of Economics and the University of Jerusalem. She is also a former C-suite executive who has lived and worked in 17 countries on 4 continents and now coaches leaders all around the globe in 4 languages. With 500,000 views on her TEDx talks and speaking engagements all over the world, Keren's message seems to transcend borders. I know it will resonate with you. Coach Keren resides in Austin, Texas, with her husband and her 2 cats, as I learned about. You're going to absolutely love this conversation with Coach Keren. She's real. She's authentic. She called me out a few times, and there is absolute gold in this interview. It's an honor to bring her to our podcast. Be sure to listen to the B-roll for all of our subscribers. We've got the Mystic Millionaire in the making, the bonus episode. You'll want to listen to Keren's bonuses, let me tell you. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the episode. I am honored to have Keren, Coach Keren, in the studio today with me for the Mystic Millionaire Podcast. Welcome, Keren. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Danielle. It's a pleasure to be here in Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville.
I know.
So cool.
So cool.
We've got an exciting few days ahead, actually. Yeah.
You sure do.
Congratulations on your book launch last night. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, what a great event. Let's talk about this book, GILDED. Let's talk about your journey, Coach Keren. I know you coach elite performers, high achievers. We were talking about last night. Tell us how that came to be. Where did Coach Keren come from?
Coach Keren is exactly her client. I'm a former overachiever. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm a recovering overwhelmed, stressed out, obsessive, hard worker. And that's really what overachiever is. Overachiever is a person who is inclined to working very, very hard. This book, GILDED, is my 12-step program. I laughed about that last night, but I really mean it. I wanted to call it Workaholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
It is a 12-step program. There are 12 chapters, and it follows a very, very similar trajectory because all of us are addicted to being busy and to being validated through that which we do. That which we do, by the way, can be just parenting, can be tulip growing, as I like to joke, right? But those of us who are extraordinarily intensely focused and don't actually know how to turn the off switch on, our perfectionism sort of drags us behind it. That's who this book is for. And that's really how Coach Keren came to be. I didn't know, by the way, that I was an overachiever, and I don't think I would have called myself a perfectionist, really, traditionally, because I always felt that my work was quite flawed. Classic perfection, by the way.
Yeah.
It's never good enough.
Right.
Oh, I don't
I could
know.
always do better.
I could always do better.
More.
Exactly. More. I could always have more. But my story really begins the way a lot of teachers' stories begin, with just a giant, epic blow up of all of their former lives and their former selves. As I got to share last night with the beautiful souls who showed up for us in Nashville, until I was 31 years old, I lived a life that was absolutely enviable for anyone looking from the outside in. I grew up with a nice family, no neurosis anywhere. I was a super good student. I mean, truly preternaturally disposed to the way schools are built.
Yeah.
My sister wasn't. So everybody assumed there was something wrong with her. There isn't. She just wasn't built for the system, but I was born for the system.
Are you the oldest?
I am, of course.
Same.
Yeah. So we're kind of machines, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we're always performing for our parents, who, poor things, didn't know what they were doing. So yay, fun combo. But I did everything really, really right. Honestly, the only thing that was wrong was I was terribly unathletic, and I still am terribly unathletic. But
Same.
that's it. Just preternaturally disposed to school, to overachieving, killed it, had great grades, valedictorian in high school, valedictorian, went to the best schools, universities, and got the best grades there too, first degree, second degree. Then I watched The Devil Wears Prada, make the decision, of course, like most women of my generation, that this is how I shall find my glory. I shall wear Prada every day, and I shall work in the luxury and fashion industries, and conquered that pretty quickly. Married a tall man, which, as I joked last night, is the apotheosis, the culmination of everyone's dreams. And by the time I'm 31, this looks real good on Instagram. And I mean real good. Everything, the awards, the accolades have followed. I'm going to parties with celebrities. I'm wearing the right clothes. Keren has won everything.
But
Until you looked a little deeper. One day, in those early 30s, I found myself in a shower in my very beautiful house. It was everything anyone could ever dream of. Very Instagram worthy, sobbing, and thinking, I'm so depressed, I wish I could just kill myself right now. I think that's the only way out. Anyone who's ever been in the vicinity of suicidal ideation, which is extraordinarily common in overachievers, by the way, knows that feeling. And the reason was everything was a facade. It was just a farce. It wasn't just hard to maintain. It was fake. All of it was fake. The Prada I was wearing was a mountain of credit card debt. The job was okay, but definitely not my life's dream to sell people expensive watches, which I was the head of marketing for a very big luxury brand. My husband was abusive. I was in an abusive relationship, an emotionally abusive relationship. Are you old enough to remember a movie called Sleeping with the Enemy starring Julia Roberts?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it was like. I was terrified. Every time I made a mistake, I thought this is going to cost either me my life or worse, my cats their life. I was terrified in that marriage. I really didn't know a way out without unraveling everything and losing everything.
Yeah.
When I snapped out of that shower, though, something really amazing happened. I was ready to lose everything. I remember just thinking, this ends now. And I don't remember understanding at all what this was going to take or what would happen next. I had no idea because I also was a snob who looked down on the self-helpery category or even at asking for help, which is also very classic overachievery. But I did know it ended now. And that was the day that it ended. The beginning wouldn't be for a while. I'm sure you know that then there are years that we have to use in order to basically pay for our freedom. But I did go willingly in that moment. And from that moment on, everything changed.
And when you say go willingly, what did that look like specifically?
I was ready.
Yeah.
I don't think I was going to enjoy any of it. It was a horrible period. Divorce, for anyone who's been through it, is not fun.
Yeah, I'm going through it now.
Yeah, it's very painful, very difficult, and financially painful, even when you don't have very much. And then I put a few of my things that were remaining in storage, and the storage burned down. And then I returned to New York, and I was sleeping on friends' sofas, which is really humbling in your mid-30s, or any time, really, when you're at the mercy of life and have to ask people for help and admit how big of a failure this has been. And Then I couldn't find a job for a really long time. The industry had changed, and honestly, I didn't really realize it at the time, but I had changed. So me and my 2 cats are bouncing around from house to house, trying to find a way to live and rebuild this life. And then they both got sick, and they died, which was awful, which was also the biggest gift in that entire period, Danielle.
Why is that?
Because when you're in grief, you can't really try anymore. You just have to stop. So I did stop. And in the stopping, 7 weeks, in fact, I remember, because all I could do was watch Frasier reruns and recover.
And where were you?
In New York.
At
a friend's house.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was very lucky. A friend with a Hamptons house.
Okay.
So this was quite a nice place
Yeah.
in which to crash.
Yeah.
I started to turn much, much more deeply into the study. And I just let go. All the old identity just went away. And that's when Coach Keren, well, a teacher, was born.
Letting go.
Yes. It's the only way up.
Yeah.
That's a big misconception, you know? Most people think the way up is up.
Oh,
The way up is down.
the way up is down. Mic drop.
You feel that?
Yeah. Yeah. And letting go is so fucking hard.
The worst. Our
Yeah.
ego is screaming bloody murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
the
you,
tricky
and yet,
place.
and we know, like, I know it's what to do. I know.
What do you think? You think
What's
your
that?
ego is an amateur?
Yeah, right.
He's union. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He just gets stronger and
Yeah.
trickier and sneakier. By the way, usually in our case, in successful people's case, who have already done the work, he no longer appears as a temptation for failure. He's not whispering in your ear that you're a loser anymore. He's whispering the opposite. You are super, super human.
Mm.
You are better than you think you are. And if you start taking that bait, where do you think you're going to
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
Kicking and screaming all the way down.
Yeah.
So I've just learned to not take any of the bait.
Okay. How do you do that?
I've understood that the game is no longer to become somebody
Mm.
or to cling to something. It's to become nobody and to cling to nothing. As long as I remember that, that's my little cheat sheet. I'll
To
say yeah.
become nobody and to cling to nothing.
Yes. Surrender is detachment. You can still have what you have. Just understand that it's not forever.
Yeah.
After that fire and all that Prada just washed away, I have gone back to acquiring lovely things. But they're just things.
Yeah. Good. That's good. Let's talk about surrender. Why do you think, is it the ego that has it be so hard, or are there other reasons? Like, for me, I think for a long time, I haven't felt safe in my home, which I know you can relate to. And I know it doesn't come from outside things, that I get to create that within. And one of the reasons why I think many of us overachievers control is to feel safe.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Well, thank you for sharing that. I want to say that technically you didn't create the being in a condition that is unsafe. You agreed to put yourself in a situation that is unsafe, but you're not responsible for the unsafeness. So just to be clear,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
nobody deserves that
Yeah.
or anything of that nature. That also means you have the power or the agency to get yourself out of that situation and to attract better moving forward. And the only way to do that is to learn to dance with the ego, which is why I've decided that the ego is not me. I have accepted a different definition for the ego that I lovingly call Satan.
Mm.
In Hebrew, my native language, Satan doesn't mean devil. The Gentiles made that one up.
Yeah.
Satan means opponent. And opponents are very good for us. I don't like playing tennis with people who can't play tennis. I don't want to play chess with somebody who can't play chess. They're very good. And the better the opponent, the stronger you become, the stronger a player you become. And that's how you start to befriend him rather than to fear him. You start to work with him, to collaborate with him. You start to understand what he's telling you. You start to see negative emotion as information rather than making it stop you in your tracks. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
And that's it. And that allows you to surrender rather than to resist. Because if you resist, man, is he going to kick into high drive.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Yeah.
He's
Very good. Very smart. And it knows exactly what
Of course.
you need to get stopped. Yeah.
Yesterday,
so
I had a
specific.
meltdown, complete meltdown, because my Delta messed up the flight. They had a technical issue. They messed up my flight. They notified me of boarding at the wrong time. I missed my flight.
Oh, wow.
And I have to get to my book party and to see Danielle and Jessica today. Meltdown. Then booked a last-minute flight on Southwest. Got here, all's well that ends well. From the plane, I texted my husband saying, well played, Satan. Well played. Just amazing moment of truly defaulting to your base instincts because
Oh, yeah.
you've lost control. And the loss of control is just horrifying to us.
Yeah. And so when you had your meltdown, did you continue to melt down, or did you use a tool to get back at it and get the next fight? What did that
First,
look
I
like?
took it out on everyone I love and know.
Okay.
So step one, human.
Yeah.
How dare they do this to me? And don't they know that I'm a Diamond Medallion member? And Ryan, you know what? You know what? This is your fault, husband of mine. You should have told me to call and double check. And then that sweet man, my husband, is the truly most enlightened person I've ever met. I think it's because he fishes so much.
Okay.
Just deep meditation. He just goes, I did tell you.
Love that.
And then he just said, I think the words that irritate women more than anything, you need to calm down. And I went, I'm going to kill you by the end of today. This is either going to end in divorce or death. And that's it. Then I started to move into the tools, which are A, fix the problem. The problem is the problem. Ryan's not the problem, and Delta's not the problem. Fix the problem. Do you have a way out of this problem? Once I fixed the problem and realized that it was solved, there's really no reason to be angry anymore. And I walked myself through the pause principle, which is one of my main tools to start to actually get out of this.
Okay, tell me.
The pause principle is, in a moment of challenge, take 17 seconds to resolve things internally. Obviously, I did not do this. I freaked out first. Totally okay.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Human.
Number one, is the problem or is the way I'm behaving a bigger problem? What's the answer?
Yeah, the way you're behaving.
The way I was behaving was a way bigger problem.
Yeah.
I was actually probably going to waste even more time spinning
Exactly.
and not able to solve the problem, which could have created a real problem. Number two, is there any other way to see this? Well, if they have a technical issue and there's a mechanical problem with the plane, do I want to fly on that plane?
No.
No. Very good. There are other ways to get there. There might be an opportunity in boarding a plane at a later moment. You never know. Maybe you're meant to be on a different plane. Question number 3. What's the opportunity? Get on the next plane, fix the problem, and also learn a good lesson in humanity and humility. And I went willingly. As I boarded the Southwest plane, I've never flown Southwest before, 2 amazing things happened to me on that flight. Number 1, I sat next to a really lovely woman, a therapist, who was reading my book.
No.
And I just about died.
No.
She was highlighting it and taking pictures, and she was like, I was just texting a client to read this. Magical moment, great conversation. Shout out to Bailey. That was amazing.
Coach Keren.
Number 2, I ate the pretzels on the plane that were the most delicious pretzels I've ever eaten. I told the stewardess, the flight attendant, and she brought me 4 packets. You tell me
Multiplied.
that was not a huge win. That was a win. And I made it on time.
And you made it on time. And you look gorgeous in your suit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. The synchronicity of the woman reading your book that's just been launched.
She was supposed to meet me. She did this to me.
And also you
Yeah.
manifesting her. Like, what an
Exactly.
incredible moment.
There are no coincidences.
You can't even make that up.
Einstein said, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Honestly, we have to stop seeing these as random moments.
Yeah, agreed.
These
agreed.
things
No
literally have to happen. They are preordained. We're the ones who are freaking out about it.
So good. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Man.
I also think about how you use your tool your tools after having your human moment.
Yeah.
And then I
It's
think
okay.
about
Not too late.
exactly.
Too late.
And I think about if you would have kept freaking out, I often say to myself and clients, the way that you respond to this matters. It dictates what comes next.
Yes, absolutely. Because otherwise, you're only creating more chaos. Law of
Absolutely.
attraction. Law of attraction is the better it gets, the better it gets. But here's the catch. The worse it gets, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
So you really have to mind your vibration. And also, you have to just find those tiny moments of relative calm in the freak out, because that's the only place you'll be able to take your power back. Now, if you have fully freaked out, you only have one option.
What's that?
Go to sleep.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Yeah, your mind.
Stop the momentum. Stop the momentum. People do not like that. They're like, no, I can't. If you can't, watch Frasier until you fall asleep. Go to sleep. It's
Yeah.
the only way to reset. It really is.
Love that. I love writing. What do you think of writing? I love if I'm freaking
Focusing
out.
mechanism.
Yeah, because
Sure.
what you like, I can't think of anything but I'm writing. So what I write, about what I want rather than the situation that I'm in. So what would I prefer? How would that feel? And I discipline myself to focus on that and change the vibration.
Only if you're able to manage your vibration. Some people are very susceptible, very prone to anger. You may have a more gentle disposition and be able to do this. And for them, unfortunately, that's what's going to pour onto the righteousness. Don't do that. Or repression. Don't do that. Take a break.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Come back when you're just a smidge more chill.
Yeah, love that. Thank you for sharing that story yesterday. It's so good.
That was good, huh?
Yeah.
And that's a tiny moment in your life.
Yeah. And one
And it also
example.
shows you that, I mean, I'm so enlightened at this point, Danielle. I'm floating.
Yeah, I love it.
And
I see
I
you.
freaked out about a flight. We are human beings in a human body, and to assume for 1 second that you are going to beat the system is just arrogant.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's a great reminder. It is that we're all going through it.
I know.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I remember just apologizing to my husband and going, "Did you see that?" And he goes, "Told you weren't enlightened."
Yeah.
And then when I got out of the car because he drove me to the airport, he goes, "Have a good time, Gandhi." Just making fun of me.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. So you're remarried.
I am remarried, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Second time's a charm.
Yeah, I've heard that. Many people have said.
Are you kidding me?
I'm in the messy middle at the moment.
Oh, it so sucks. But honey, if you saw the size of the blessing that was coming, all of the success, all of the amazing things about the business, they're nothing compared to Ryan. Just wait. Just you.
Very free.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. It's actually really good. Really exciting.
It's so good. And the sex is better too.
It sure is. Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
So last night you talked about the period of, would you say you didn't say displeasure, but it gives you the freedom. What was the word that you?
Suffering.
Suffering.
Absolute suffering.
And how it brings wisdom. We were talking about that in the episode.
There's an amazing episode. So I'm a huge Frasier fan. I'm sure you've noticed.
Yes.
It's a show that ended 20 years ago, but not for me. It's a magnificent show. It's a masterpiece, truly exceptionally well written. And there's one episode in it in which Niles, the brother of Frasier Crane, another key character, who has been very, 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 very rich because he married a very wealthy, very thin woman, and has, in so doing, unbeknownst to him, suppressed his soul, is starting to go through his divorce. In going through his divorce, he loses the things that matter to him the most, the status markers. He has to move into a crummy apartment because the money is not his. He has to adjust his lifestyle. He has to be judged by his peers and he's left by his friends. And he doesn't go willingly. He goes screaming all the way down until at one point he realizes and says to Frasier, "I don't have a choice, do I?" And Frasier says, "Losing all of this is the price you will have to pay for your freedom." And Niles says, "Well, it's worth that."
Wow.
It's worth that. I remember having a moment of clarity and understanding. I went with my best friend to the storage unit after it had burned down, and I said, "I guess this is it. This is the price I'm going to have to pay for my freedom, and I will go willingly." I remember going to a bar that night and buying everybody a round of shots. I don't even drink. If you can find in a moment of deep suffering, this is the price I'm going to have to pay for my freedom, you will go willingly. And by the time you've lost it all, you'll understand something really profound. You will make it again tenfold.
Yeah.
This is nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, I feel that. And I know that that's really been what's been helping me, and making some decisions, even speaking with my lawyer who doesn't understand that. He's like, what? You don't want to fight? I'm like,
No.
like,
And when we
like,
signed the divorce documents in a terrible Swiss court filled with German-speaking people, not a language that is friendly and warm, I must say, as someone who speaks several languages. My ex-husband looked at me and he said, you see, I got everything. You lost everything. And I was like, first of all, we had zero to begin with, you jackass who's covered in debt. And number two, take it.
yeah.
Take it with enormous pleasure. Enjoy. I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And that was nothing to give up compared to what has come.
And also, there's nothing to take. Like,
No.
all of this 3D stuff is like,
It's bad energy anyway.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
yeah. And have you read the book Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so that book I've read several times in this period, and it's like you can't take really anything.
No. It's
I know
only
you
the
think,
meaning.
yeah, I know you think you can. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. There's a wonderful song by Madonna, of all people.
Okay.
Certainly an unenlightened character, though I love her to death.
Yeah, me too.
You can take all this, take it away, and I would still have it all. And I didn't know the meaning of those words until now.
What song is that?
I think it's
Anyone?
called I'm in Love with You. You
Okay.
silly thing. It's a song she wrote for God.
Okay, I don't know it, and I'm a
Really
Madonna
amazing.
fan.
No, oh, sorry. The name of the song is Nothing Fails.
Nothing fails. Okay.
Nothing Fails, yes. I'm a very, very big Madonna fan,
Same.
too. I'm a middle-aged gay man, so
Okay.
Frasier and
Good to
Madonna.
meet you. Yeah, Fraser and Madonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Madonna as well. Okay, I don't know that song. I'm
Nothing
going to play it
fails.
right after this.
Or Alanis's.
Mhm.
The moment I let go of it was the moment I got more than I could handle.
Yeah. I remember, speaking of that, 2 years ago,
I mentioned a Canadian for you.
Alanis.
Alanis.
Thanks. Yes,
In the song,
Ottawa.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thank
right.
you, thank you. Thank you. She's a proud Canadian as well. Yeah, from Ottawa,
Yeah.
not too far from me. About 2 years ago, I declared that I was ready for my next level. And I said, like, and not knowing really, I think, what I was asking for, but
Yeah.
like, give it to me, like I'm ready for it. And it was like, whoosh, lots of change in the last couple of years. I'm not sure why I'm bringing that up, but you said something that true that,
You had to let go of everything.
yeah,
That's the thing. You don't understand what you're asking for when you ask
Mhm.
for more or when you ask for change. There is that meme that goes around the Instagram, but it's true. Your new life will cost you your old
old
one.
life.
And most people do not think this way. They think, yay, more.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out. You better be ready. And my hope is that when people read the book and end the 12 steps, that's what I want them to get. I want them to be ready. I want them to be ready to go all in on their own life.
And not be afraid of
And
the
not be afraid.
change.
Yes. Have the courage.
Because I think people,
Go
when they hear
willingly.
this, that you've got to give up, they are like, well, no, I don't want to.
I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it exactly as is. So I don't want to sacrifice anything. Just give me all of the great stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, well, you're not going to go very far.
Yeah.
Certainly not in the spiritual universe.
Yeah, that's huge. So good.
Which is fine by me. Enjoy your neurosis.
Yeah.
It's not my job to drag you. But if you want to go willingly, this is going to be the trip of a lifetime.
Yeah. Okay, give me some of these 12 steps. Last night you covered a couple.
Yeah.
And would you say the steps are about going willingly and being ready for that change?
You're going to go more and more and
Okay.
more willingly, but we're going to basically be taking a hammer to you and stripping you of piece by piece. That's
Amazing.
essentially what the spiritual process is the removal of layers. It's not the acquisition
Mhm.
of layers. The first step is the hardest, and it's the most important, and it is admit it. Just admit that your life is not as good as it looks on Instagram. Most addicts like to say something like, I've got this under control. I can stop whenever I want. Most overachievers think the very same thing. I'm in control. This is how I want it. Well, then why does it feel bad?
Yeah.
Why isn't it satisfying to you? Why are your results displeasing? Why are you protesting so much? A gentleman was reading my book and looked at me and said, well, I don't have any of this. I am happy. And I went, why do you feel compelled to tell me that? All you have to do is not read it or read it for another person or find resonance in the magnificence of the words because you enjoy good writing. But no, you felt compelled after one page to tell me that this is problematic. Then stop lying. You don't have to stop lying immediately. Don't worry. We'll take you through several chapters in the book until you're fully ready to be vulnerable. To be vulnerable is to be honest. To be vulnerable is to make integrous decisions that are authentically aligned with yourself, not decisions that you kind of hope work out for you, even though you know they're definitely a bargain with the devil. You just think you're buying yourself a little more time by making them.
Yeah.
Bargaining is a very critical step in the grief process. The grief process, according to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the researcher who really spent most of her time on grief, denial, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening. That's why admit it is so important. Anger, resistance to it, clinging to it, and then bargaining, ultimate clinging. I already know that I need to go. I already know this is a farce. I already know this is a lie. But maybe if I just do a couple of things here, it'll be fine. Please spare me, God, from letting go of this. So stop lying is another very, very critical piece of this. And then hopefully I'll take you to a place where you're starting to really remove the resistance to it because you start to see that the payoff, the trade-off will be so much more immense. And then it is my hope that you go through the steps to really discover your authenticity, your authentic purpose. And from there, you can start to move into steps that feel, I guess, a little better than those.
That's beautiful.
Easier said than done.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Easier said than done, but yeah.
And is this how you work with your clients as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wrote this book. This is classic. You familiar with human design?
Yes.
It's so classic projector. I never really noticed what's happening.
Are you a projector?
Yes.
Okay.
I
What,
know.
what number?
I don't look like.
You
Right?
don't have to pick one. No.
Yeah.
What number? What
Oh, I
your
forgot.
lines? Do you know? Okay.
But I do know, I have it written, I think it's 2 and 9,
Okay.
but I'm not sure.
Okay.
The most interesting thing about just the projector understanding was I finally decided after 7 years of writing books that landed very good literary agents, but really the wrong results every single time, just decided to only write a book for my clients as a love letter for them. I wanted to self-publish it. I literally just wanted them to have a manual to accompany the work. And that is how GILDED was written. It's also really direct. I took liberties because they know me and because I know they can take it, right?
Yep.
So I wrote it that way. And then the editor that I hired to help me make this grammatically good and sound even better and help me fill all the holes said, Keren, I have a friend in publishing. I was wondering if you don't mind, I'd love to show it to her because I think this is really good and I thought that she'd like it. And I said, sure, no problem. She shared it with her and they made me an offer almost immediately. And it was really good and it sounded very aligned. So I thought, all right, no problem. Let's partner with these nice people. And the book launched 2 months ago and the whole world exploded. Talk about by invitation, huh?
Amazing.
I didn't even realize that was happening. But yeah, basically that's how I wrote the book. And I'm glad it's resonating with many more people than my client.
That's such a pure way to write the book,
Yeah.
you know, because so many people write it for out there and people pleasing and, you know, writing what they think others would expect. But you writing to help those people closest to you.
Yeah, it's
Gold.
to help them and for them to maybe have something that helps them after the work,
Yeah.
you know?
Who do you typically work with?
Well, I work with a lot of different kinds of overachievers.
Yeah.
And that really just means stressed out, intensely focused beings. I don't have a perfect client. So I know I work with a lot of executives in big companies like Nike and Estee Lauder or founders of well-done startups or coaches and consultants. But the truth is I'm always kind of looking for a farmer version of me.
Same.
Like people who are trying really, really hard and they're really good and they're just missing. They're completely missing with their aim. That's who I gravitate towards.
Talk to me about that, missing their aim.
Their targets are off.
Mhm.
That's why they're so off.
Mm-hmm.
They're off not because of their goodness or their earnest attempt to make something of themselves. It's they're looking for money and status. And I know these are crass things, but that's literally it. They've been wired for accolades. They've been wired for spotlight. And they've been wired for financial safety. And that's where they're oriented. They're nowhere near looking for happiness or purpose or the exaltation of their soul. And usually when you try to sell it to them, they think, but I'll be poor
Yeah.
and I'll be alone and I'll lose everything. And I say, yeah, you got to be willing to go there
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise you're not getting the rich. Sorry.
Or it won't be what you think it is. Yeah.
Or exactly, or it'll blow you up or put you in another golden cage.
Yeah.
I'm not here to help you build another golden cage.
Okay. This is resonating.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about goal setting around money and something that you can measure? Is that,
Only if it pleases you.
yeah.
You should never make decisions from a bad mood, as I learned yesterday.
Yeah.
Going to that airport. I think there's nothing wrong with understanding how to manage money. You just have to understand how to manage money from the premise of it's not yours. It's a responsibility, but it's not my money. And what's the point of making it my money? I'm going to die.
Yeah. And money, like,
It comes and goes. Exactly.
It's circulation.
So I really think about it more as just let's figure out how to manage this and redirect it and allow it to allow me to live to the fullness of my desired expression. But other than that, it's completely meaningless. And if it is meaningful, then setting goals is painful. It's painful. It's filled with numbers and deadlines and just ick. But if I would really like to have plenty in order to allow myself to continue to do this and to expand. Oh, it's a joy. It's an absolute joy.
Yeah. And it just comes when you're on that path, don't you find? Yeah.
Completely
Yeah,
different.
it's,
I mean, I can always tell when someone's switched on. Now, there are people who are exceptional with money, but that's because they're serious hustlers. In that case, I always watch from the sidelines and think, this is going to blow up. I'll see you again. And I always do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not
That's okay.
sustainable.
It just means they're moving a little bit karmically, just not a lot.
And that's the way we were taught, though. We were taught to hustle. We were taught to work hard.
Yeah.
To your point of the overachievers, there was like, I didn't know any other way than to show up that way in order to get what I wanted. I didn't realize there was something different.
No, you don't. And you also are, again, you're addicted to this. So the ego is exceptional. Satan is exceptional at his job. He has made material things most delicious. Accolades, delightful. Your job is to literally learn to not take it. Your job is to understand that you are here in service. You are here in service. You stay in service. That's it.
How do you keep that top of mind for yourself?
I know what I am. I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the accolades, but only if there's a question and a chance to serve. Otherwise,
Beautiful.
I'm glad it worked for you.
Yeah.
You know
Good.
what I mean?
Have you read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill? Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Not as good as the first one,
Yeah.
but very, very good. And published posthumously.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I know. And many, many years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I come back to that because I think of how you're talking about the ego and same thing, distraction. So anytime I notice myself like looking at the dangling carrot, I'm like, okay, here, this is it. This is it. Come back to purpose.
He's
Yeah.
right there. He's so good.
So good. Yeah. I in the work that I do, I align the ego and with the paradigm. So the way that we were programmed to show up and that programming that we received is so tricky and it wants to bring us back and keep us stuck.
Of course.
And it knows us like so well. And it knows exactly what carrot to dangle to get our attention.
It's very well meaning. It must be said. It's very well meaning. The opponent is not a foe. It's just a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that's all that is.
feedback,
It's really just giving you information that you can use for your rise or you can use for your demise. That the choice is up to you. And the only way to get to that choice, to even have that choice, is to think slowly, is to pause. Because otherwise you're just in impulsivity. And impulsivity is not calm, it's not chill, and it's going to make very bad decisions. So the only way to even receive the feedback, is what I'm feeling for my rise or for my demise, is to stop, is to take that mindfulness break and ask yourself a couple of clarifying questions so that you can get back to real Danielle. Real Danielle and Satan Danielle are not the same person. The programming is your mother, your parent, is society, is cultural lies, the programming is very dominant until you question it.
Yeah.
Just this much injection of mindfulness, of questioning, gets you out of it every single time.
Yeah.
It just, unfortunately, I like to tell people, this is like the gym. You don't get to keep the hot body. You have to keep going. This is a practice. This isn't, oh, wow, I listened to this podcast. I am now cured forever. It
No,
doesn't
it's a way of
work that
life.
way. It's a way of life.
Yeah.
I live this way.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, otherwise, I'm telling you, I would have freaked out at Delta yesterday.
Yeah. So that pause, that moment, it's not easy. And
No.
like you said yesterday in your book launch, it's like we're so conditioned to go, 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 to overachieve, to look for the next thing,
Yeah.
that it can be scary in this stillness. Like we literally have no idea what to do. Yeah.
So your only option, if you are willing to stay addicted, is to take the bait every single time, to take every bait, to get angry at everything, to freak out about everything, to manage every single one of the problems like a fireman with a fire hose, which is a really crazy way to live.
But don't you think a lot of us have, we wear that?
It's a badge of honor.
Badge of
Of
honor.
course, that's
Yeah.
why, that's reinforcing your addiction.
Yeah.
That's just reinforcing. You're actually getting praised by society for
Yes.
being an addict. It's crazy. Busyness is the ultimate badge of honor, productivity
Yeah.
in this society. So your job is to defy that. That's what makes this so hard. To become nobody is a noble thing to say until you really understand how many gates of hell you're going to have to go through to really allow yourself to live this way, to live free, to make the choices that are right for you. Do you think that people praised me when I decided that I was going to become a spiritual teacher for a living?
Probably not, especially in your corporate career.
In my
Yeah.
social circle?
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
best friend asked me if I needed a loan and if I was okay.
Yeah.
My old boss called me and asked me if I wanted my old job back. I didn't tell my parents because I knew for the first year of becoming this that they would freak the F out.
Yeah. I still have people that think I'm crazy.
That think that you've gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
When I started dating Ryan is the sweetest, nicest, gentlest soul I've ever met. He's the opposite of the gentleman, that type A's that I used to go out with. I think everybody just didn't even know how to wrap their head around them. But you have to really start saying, this is who I am, and this is what is right for me, and I will make that decision anyway.
And you said something last night, that episode of Seinfeld about do the opposite. I often play that for clients. That just reminded me, because you, in choosing Ryan,
Yeah, I did
the opposite. So let's talk about that. So for those of us, those listeners out there, there's this episode of Seinfeld where, what's his name?
By the way, first we have to make the assumption that everyone's a Seinfeld fan. And
Yes.
if you're not, seriously, that's weird. But Seinfeld is a magnificent show. There was a character on the show named George Costanza.
right.
George Costanza is a yutz, a liar, a person who always tells people he's an architect because he has such an inferiority complex about being a nothing that he just makes things up. And about being a millionaire, he wears lifts in his shoes to appear taller. I mean, he's just a classic, hilarious liar, and it's very funny in a sitcom. And one episode, he walks into the coffee shop where they all congregate, and he says, "Where did my life go so wrong, Jerry?" And then he starts to say, I've concluded that every decision I've ever made has been wrong. And that's when Jerry says, "Well, if every decision you've ever made has been wrong, then the opposite must be right." And this is when George begins an experiment of just doing the opposite. Instead of not approaching a woman because he believes he's too inferior to approach a woman, he goes up to her and he tells her the truth. He says, "Hi, my name is George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents." And she turns around and says, "Hello." The doors begin to open for George, and he really absorbs this as his religion. And I don't think there's a better way of saying what happened to me is exactly that. I started to realize this is my religion. I will do the opposite of my original impulses, which were to just measure up to the Joneses and play some role that was wrong for me. Now I'm here, I'm Keren, get used to it.
Would you suggest or recommend at any stage for a person to do the opposite?
Well, the first is if your dominant MO has been to succumb to the lull of comfort and to not acknowledge your feelings of restlessness, aimlessness, discomfort, dissatisfaction, just kind of put them away, then the opposite is to address them, to acknowledge them, and to ask for help. That is the first opposite that you have to go through. And again, that's my number one hope, is that my book gives people the courage to run through that wall. That's the first opposite.
Yeah, it's good.
Most of society will just die in discomfort because that discomfort has been going on for so long. It's literally become their new comfortable.
Yeah.
I hope it becomes so uncomfortable that you dare to do the opposite.
Yeah, I love that.
Don't worry, if not, your body will for you.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah, there'll be a time.
There will be a time
It's a choice.
where that shitstorm's going to come whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any last words before I give you my 3 rapid fire questions to end the podcast? Words of wisdom.
I think my biggest words of wisdom, you mentioned when we started talking, that young lady who asked a question very bravely about falling behind and her fear of falling behind. And I offered her, I think, in the answer, what I really, really wish I had heard not once, but several times in my youth and in all my life. And that's be easy on yourself. You're doing way better than you think. I think those are the most important words to offer anyone. Be easy on yourself. This is going to last a very short time. You're doing way better than you think. And I hope you enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah. It's good. I had a mentor who would say to me, Danielle, your best is good enough. You're always doing your best, and your best is good enough. And your best changes day to day. So when you've had a full night's sleep and you're rested and you've been to the spa, your best looks great. When your daughter gets up in the middle of the night and she's sick and you've had little sleep, the best the next day looks different. And your best is good enough. That changed my life. For an overachiever.
Yeah. I mean, that's the 4th agreement, Don Miguel Ruiz. And as I got off the plane, Bailey said, good luck tonight. You're going to crush it. And then she said, and if you don't, that's good too. And I went, yeah.
Life's happening for me.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And we're becoming nobody.
Becoming nobody.
I've got to sit with that one a little bit more.
Ram Dass
Yeah.
will help you.
Okay. Thank you.
Best teacher ever. May he rest.
Yeah. Thank you. So 3 questions. The first, abundance in 1 word. Go.
Freedom. Not freedom from, just freedom.
Freedom. 2, and this will be an interesting answer based on our conversation. So this is the Mystic Millionaire Podcast and millionaire mindset. What's one of your secret but guilt-free, maybe not secret, but guilt-free pleasures to keep you in the millionaire mindset that you indulge in?
Free time.
Free time.
I like to say I live in the 90s until about 9 a.m.
Okay.
There's nothing going on. Nothing going on. I love idle time. And I mean idle.
Yeah.
I mean staring at the walls with a cat.
The ceiling. The cat purring on you is the best feeling, isn't it?
There's nothing better in the whole world.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Idle time.
It's so, how many, it's
By the way, I
challenging
think
for
it's a
people.
secret to my success too.
Yeah, is the idle time. Well, that's where all the downloads come. That's where the
Exactly.
wisdom, that's where you can hear intuition.
I can finally
yourself.
hear myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so fucking uncomfortable for so many people. I know for me, I thought I would be doing nothing.
Yeah.
But I'd be like running lists in my head. I'm like, that's not.
I know, it's terrible.
yeah.
Do you remember that episode of Seinfeld where Elaine and Putty are flying back from Norway and he just stares at the seat and she goes, is that all you're going to do? Today I get it, and I really think that he was an enlightened being. Yes, that's all I'm going to do.
And not call myself lazy, not be hard on myself, not telling myself I'm wasting time.
No, go ahead, waste it.
Okay, number 3, you have 1 book to read for the rest of your life.
No.
Only 1.
Easy. Satan, an autobiography by the Rav Berg.
Okay.
I know. And by the way, I highly recommend it on Audible because it's read by a very creepy man with a very creepy voice.
Okay.
It's really about getting to know the ego, getting to know him intimately.
Is that why you call him Satan from that book?
Satan, yeah. Satan is a Kabbalah term, but I've always really related to that word differently.
Yeah. Coach Keren, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Honor was
Thank you
mine.
for your time, your wisdom, your stories,
Thank you, my
your
new friend.
presence. Yeah, I'm grateful.
Thank you.